Hi everyone, my name is Saurav and today we are here to discuss about a new topic which is again a very relevant topic because we all have seen the effects of heat waves across India. Recently the temperatures all across India had risen beyond the tolerable limits of people, and that is the reason why we decided to have a discussion on it to understand what is a heat wave, what are the criteria of a heat wave, what are the impacts, and what are the regions which are affected by it. So we'll start with the initial opinion. Anybody can start. Yes.
Yes, good morning everyone. My name is Jayanto and today we are going to talk about the recent issue that needs to be addressed and that is what the heat waves in India. Whole India is suffering from this heat wave and heat wave is becoming intolerable day by day.
Yes.
And so today we are going to discuss it thoroughly.
Yes.
So the topic is heat wave, as we all know. So it's it's abnormally increase in the temperature.
Yes.
Then the normal maximum temperature that we usually see mostly in the summer days, that is affected mostly in the northwestern parts of India.
Yes, mostly the northern part of India. That is the region which is mostly affected due to it.
And it basically starts from March to June, but sometimes it stays till July.
Exactly. And the peak season for heat wave is generally the month of May only, and that we have also experienced recently, where temperature across India at several places went beyond 50 degrees Celsius as well. Whether those weather station actually gave us the true data, because it was being said by IMD, I guess, that some of those data is misleading because the component which are being used over there may have malfunctioned. So it was shown that in certain areas the temperature had crossed 55 degrees as well, especially in Maharashtra, certain regions of Nagpur, and in Delhi it was showing that it has crossed beyond 50 degrees Celsius. But again, if it is true, it is a big worry for a lot of people across India. Yes.
Heat waves are becoming a point of concern nowadays.
Yes.
It is becoming more frequent and this is a point of worry.
So let's discuss about the criteria of heat waves. I'm sure we all know that heat wave generally is associated with high temperature, and if it is a plain area, the temperature has to be above 40 degrees Celsius to consider it to be a heat wave. And if it is a hilly area, the temperature has to be around or above 30 degrees Celsius to consider it as a heat wave. And then there are further criteria as well. Anybody can add on to or can tell me what are the criteria which are there?
So just talking about the data and the criteria of heat waves. So if there is a particular place and if the normal temperature is below 40 degree, so if there is a rise in temperature of 5 to 6 degree normal temperature,
yes,
so it would be considered as a heat wave.
Yes.
And if the temperature rises above the 7 degrees Celsius, it would be considered as a severe
heat wave. Yes, true. So this criteria is basically for a region which has a general temperature of 40 degrees Celsius or less than 40 degrees Celsius. What about a region which is having more than 40 degrees Celsius?
Sir, according to IMD, if the area is having more than 40 degrees Celsius, so normal heat wave temperature is...
if the temperature goes beyond 4 to 5 degrees
4
Celsius,
to 5
then the
degrees
average temperature of that region.
And if it is 6 degrees Celsius
or above,
it is severe heat wave.
If the temperature increases by 6 degrees Celsius or above, then we will consider it to be a severe heat wave. Good. Now, there is also one more criteria for determining what will be a heat wave, especially for a region which is having temperature of 45 degrees Celsius or above. What is that criteria? Can you tell me?
So sir, there are many areas whose average temperature is 45 degree,
Yes.
which is above 40 degree mark.
Obviously.
So there IMD has specified that it will be under this heat wave criteria.
Automatically, that area will be qualified
yes,
as an area which is suffering from a heat wave. If the average temperature is 45 degrees
and
Celsius.
if temperature crosses 47 degree mark,
and then it is
will consider as several
just severe heat wave. Yes.
Heat wave.
If the average temperature is more than 47 degrees Celsius, it will be considered to be a severe heat wave. So I am sure there are certain areas in our India only which has crossed 45 degrees Celsius on an average है ना, like so many areas recently we have seen that 40 degree, more than 40 degree temperature was a normal phenomena that you used to see. Even in our own city we have seen like 42, 43 was a average temperature for
Especially areas in
many
Rajasthan.
days. Rajasthan, especially northwestern areas, Punjab, Haryana, you talk about Gujarat region as well, you talk about Uttar Pradesh, you talk about Bihar, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh. All these regions are basically the regions which are affected by heat waves. Now, IMD also brings out color coding. They also bring out these color coded warning systems. I'm sure a lot of us, when we are reading the newspaper, we have come across these kind of alerts which are issued by IMD or NDMA. So these alerts are generally in the form of either it is green, or it is yellow, or it is orange, or it is red. So I'm sure everybody knows what is the meaning of a green alert, that it is a normal day and we do not need to worry about it a lot. What is the meaning of a yellow alert? If you have seen that, what is the meaning of yellow alert?
So, sir, there is a yellow color code,
Yes.
which means that people should be in alert that temperature may rise from normal,
Exactly.
and it may cause some problem. So, people should be alert about the temperature.
Exactly. So this is a yellow alert is generally issued in an area which is suffering from a heat wave for at least 2 days. What about the impact of orange alert? What is the meaning of orange alert?
So while talking about orange alert is particularly like if there is a heat wave for more than 4 days or up to 4 days, it would be considered as orange alert.
Orange alert, as you have said, it is again, it shows, or basically NDMA or IMD, what it means is that they are telling the people to be prepared. That you need to be prepared now. Yes.
One more point is that like whenever yellow alert or even orange alert is being issued, so people being vulnerable to that, especially babies or
Yes.
especially those who are
Elderly
handicapped, elderly people, they need to be taken care very carefully.
Yes, they need to be taken care, obviously, no doubt about it, because they are the people who are most vulnerable. Most vulnerable people. And finally, let's come to the red alert, although we don't need to explain it a lot, because it is a very self-evident kind of a word, that it is showing that the condition has gone beyond limits and people need to now take action. And this is the meaning, I guess, of the IMD showing the red alert across region, although it is shown very rarely. But whenever it is shown, it is telling the people to take action. Now you cannot just be prepared. You have to take action to protect yourself. There are very high chances of heat stroke. There are very high chances of heat exhaustion, heat cramps, and multiple heat issues as well. And this is generally issued when there is severe heat waves for multiple days. Maybe it extends to 6 days as well. So that is the basic color coding which is shown across India, and that is what we can learn from that. Now let's talk about what are the health impacts due to heat stroke.
Sir, firstly, when I was researching yesterday, I got to know about that nowadays because of heat wave, eye stroke is being very common.
Eye stroke.
Acha,
this is a new term that I'm actually hearing it for the first time. Eye stroke. What is the meaning?
When I researched, it's that because of the heat wave, one of your eyes stop working. The bloodness comes into your eyes.
Blurriness is there. You are not able to see. Your eyesight gets affected.
Yes.
Does it recover on its own?
You have to check up with a doctor.
Eye specialist.
Eye specialist, because it's very common in Delhi now.
So many people are suffering from that.
Yes.
Eye stroke, you want to say. Okay. So any other health impact that you can see due to heat stroke that people are facing?
Sir, obviously, according to Live Mint, from March 1, around 16,344 people have been affected due to heat stroke.
Severely affected,
Yes,
you
sir.
mean?
And Indian election has been held during this heat wave.
Yes.
So this is also one of the main concern. In 7th phase election in Bihar, only 33 people died, in which 10 were election
officials only.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
They are taking part in the election
process. Yes, election duties. So those people had died as well.
And election commissioner has also stated that one thing which we have learned from it is do not conduct election in
Elections
summer,
in
or
summer.
in heat wave.
Yes, yes, yes.
Because there are many casualties
Due to it.
Due to it.
And even in Odisha, and we are reading that news in newspapers on a everyday basis. Even recently, I've heard in Odisha, multiple people have died. Tens of people are dying. In Delhi as well, so many people have died because of heat stroke.
And
Yes.
sir, obviously due to this, vote count has also been dropped.
Yes, that could be a reason.
Many
which could be
people
associated.
do not come to vote because of.
Exactly. And now so many parties will say that because the people could not come out, that's why we have lost the elections. So people have different excuses. Earlier it was EVM, now it could be vote count. Now, yes, you want to add anything to it? Any health impacts?
Actually, like the most people are facing the heat stroke, and like the people who are working outside, particularly the street vendors or the people who are working as a laborer, manual laborer,
Yes.
they are facing it the most because
They are the
have
most
to,
vulnerable people.
they are most vulnerable for
Construction
the most,
workers.
construction worker. For the most of their time, they have to work under the sun.
Exactly.
So that is why, like they are while facing the heat stroke, they are becoming unconscious.
And I think we are forgetting one more aspect. We are forgetting the animals. Animals. They are the ones, especially in the cities where there are very less places where they are allowed to take shelter. In forest area or in an area which is full of greenery, they can go anywhere and they can relax. But in our cities, such is the issue is that even an animal comes to take shelter in summer in your house, you will just shoo him away or shoo that away, and without offering water, without offering any food, not realizing that the animal has come to your house maybe to take shelter. And if you're not utilizing that place, then you should give it to that animal. But again, this is something which we all have known, and we are all experiencing it on a daily basis, that how insensitive people have become. So yes, so animals, hawkers, daily wagers, these are the people who are the most vulnerable people. Children, especially in the poor families, they are also the ones who are affecting the most. So I have come across at least three issues that occurs due to heat wave, and the first that I've heard is heat exhaustion, which basically is the exhaustion that results due to the heat waves, that results in headaches, fatigue, nausea, you have dizziness and multiple other issues as well. Then there is a case of heat cramps, and heat cramps happens when your body temperature increases, and it increases up to 102 degree Fahrenheit. It doesn't go beyond that, but the limit is 102 degree Fahrenheit. That is high fever as well. Plus there is swelling, plus there is headache and dizziness as well. So, and fainting as well. So that is heat cramps. The last thing that the most severe case that I have heard is the heat stroke, and we have seen in the news as well that how many people have died mostly because of heat strokes as well. So heat stroke is basically a condition when the body temperature increases up to 104 degree Fahrenheit. So it's a very high fever kind of a condition, and that is attached with seizures, coma and multiple other issues as well. And there is a very great chance of a person dying, or it's a fatal kind of a issue if that person is not catered to well. So these are the certain other health impacts which is caused by heat waves which are happening across India. Now also let's also talk about what are the initiatives that we can take in order to deal with heat waves. How can we deal with heat waves properly? What are the things that people should do?
First and foremost, the very basic thing that we have to keep our body hydrated.
Yes.
And more often we should, whenever we are going outside, we are facing the direct sun rays, we should cover our body parts. We should use damp clothes.
Damp clothes, yes.
Particularly if we are riding a bike or a cycle, particularly a bike. So we should cover our face, our mouth with a helmet. We should not ignore that. And even if we are in direct sun rays, we should also, if available, we should also take the sunglasses if it is available.
Exactly. So he has suggested certain initiative. Can you guys also suggest certain things for our viewers to to follow, especially during these days? Although I think now it is the month of June, and there is a very good probability of monsoon coming as well in a couple of weeks, and then things will mostly get better over time. But again, June is also a month which can be considered to be a possibility that there could be heat waves in June as well. Yes. So your suggestions for
Sir,
them?
like we can put because our face is most that is in the order of the sun, so we can put sunscreen.
Sunscreens.
So first of all, avoid, if not necessary, avoid going out. And if you are going, then properly cover your body or your head, especially where it directly impacts.
Yes.
And another thing we can do is try to make our home colder.
We are facing the consequences of our own action basically. So because we have cut the trees, we have done urbanization, we have produced so many products in industries. That is the impact that we are facing right now. Let's also talk about the causes for heat stroke or heat waves basically. One of the cause, or if you talk about scientific causes or geographical causes, what I have come across is that if there is prevalence of dry air or warm air over a particular region for an extended period of time, that is a condition which is an ideal condition for heat wave. The other condition that I have found out is that if in the upper atmosphere there is lack of moisture is not available, that is also a condition which can lead to a heat wave.
So one of the causes is urbanization. Large part of the people are shifting toward urban areas.
Yes, yes.
And due to which urban areas are developing
Yes.
rapidly. They are just lying concrete asphalts in the ground.
They're cutting trees as well.
Yes, sir. Due to which they have tendency to capture the heat.
And retain the heat.
Yes, sir. So it makes environment warmer by 4 to 5 degrees Celsius.
Especially at night, you're saying.
Yes, sir.
It.
Especially when, at night they release heat. So when night is to be colder, but due to that it remains.
It remains warm, and because of that, people are getting affected.
People are
due to
not
that.
getting satisfaction at night. Also.
Okay, so that is also one of the issue. Urbanization is one of the cause of the heat stroke and heat issues that people are facing. The other issue that you can talk about.
The other issue that I can attribute to is particularly the deforestation.
Yes, deforestation again is a very important cause. Yes. Can you elaborate?
So these days, for the public use, more and more trees are being cut particularly for the public welfare, and it could also be attributed to the human greed. So, and one more reason is that because of the presence of the trees, they intake more and more carbon dioxide.
They are the big carbon sinks. Apart from the oceans, I think trees are the biggest carbon sinks which are there. Carbon sequestration, trees are very, very important. And that is a major reason, I could say.
Major reason. And like we see that in the urban areas there is a very dense population.
Yes.
So there are more number of people living in a very
Small areas.
very small area.
High population density.
High population, yes, high population density.
Yes.
And when they are releasing carbon dioxide, there are very less trees to consume that. So that is why it is one of the major reason why there is a prevalence of carbon dioxide in the air.
And that is also a greenhouse gas.
Greenhouse gas.
That traps a lot of heat. In a way that increasing the temperature of the region. And one more term that I have come across is the urban heat islands. Urban heat islands are basically the regions in the cities where there are tall buildings. These tall buildings are multi-story buildings having multiple apartments as well. And these apartments are also consuming a lot of carbon, a lot of fossil fuels in the form of, they release a lot of gases due to maybe cooking, due to maybe cooling part, and multiple other actions as well. They release a lot of gases, and these gases also retain a lot of heat during the day. And these areas, small areas which are having very high population densities and tall buildings, they have abnormally high temperature compared to the nearby regions as well. So this way, and because of lack of trees, there is no way to get or absorb extra heat as well. So this is also one of the reason for increase in heat waves across the cities primarily. Yes, any other reason?
One more point that I would like to add here, like while we are talking about deforestation, India is the second country after Brazil in terms of deforestation.
Okay, the rate of deforestation is very high.
From 2015 to 2021, more than 16 lakh trees were being cut.
Sir, I want to give one example how urban heat island is affecting our ecosystem.
Okay.
So in New York, there is a Central Park in the middle.
Yes.
It's a very large area full of trees and everything.
Central Park, you're talking about
Yes,
the
sir.
Friends that series.
Yes, sir.
I
yes,
think
sir.
Central Park
That
is
area.
used multiple often
So
over there.
it is a very big area.
Yes.
And it is very green. So as we know that there are many skyscrapers in New York.
Yes, obviously.
So scientists have told that the difference between the temperature is about 20 degree.
20 degree
Yes, sir.
within the Central Park compared to the other parts of the
sir.
cities.
So it is because of urban heat island that they are 20 degree warmer.
Yes. So now let's also talk about how the heat wave phenomena is happening across the other parts of countries. I'm sure it is not just India who is facing the severe heat crisis due to climate change. I'm sure other countries as well are facing the same issue. Can you tell me any other country which is facing this issue?
Like heat wave is not a new phenomena.
Yes.
So it has been happening for a long time. And let me just tell you a data. Like earlier, after the Industrial Revolution, the data has been reduced. Like earlier, it in every 50 years there used to be a severe heat wave.
Okay.
But now it has reduced to like in particularly every 10 years there used to be a severe.
So
heat
every
wave.
decade there will be a heat wave.
A heat wave.
So the frequency of heat wave have actually increased. Showing basically the temperature of India or world is actually increasing very high. Again, something which is proven by the climate change researchers actually. Yes. Yes. Any parts?
Yes. So particularly let us talk about the European heat wave in 2003.
Okay.
So in that heat wave, like in Europe, 22,000 people died.
22,000 people.
22,000 people have died.
In a year.
In a year. In 2003. In
Oh, that's
2003.
such a big data that that's very
and
shocking.
surprisingly from France, it was 15,000 people that died.
Only in France.
Only in France.
That
yes.
again shows.
And about more than 16,000 people were affected in Portugal. One more thing I would like to highlight that like we all know about the World War II and all the things that were used, all the artilleries that were used in the World War II. So some of the artilleries and the bombs and even the tanks were also deposited in the rivers. So when that heat wave came, all the rivers dried up and it started showing up. And people became more and more scared of these things.
So that's again a big data, and that tells you that if this phenomena is not checked, if it is not dealt with properly, if people will not take proper precaution, it can result in higher number of casualties as well. Yes. Any other country that you can think about?
Sir, in Australia in 2019, they have recorded their hottest and driest summer.
Yes.
So in which they have wild fire also.
Wildfires.
Yes, sir.
Bushfire, you want to
Yes,
say?
sir.
Bushfire.
Wildfire and bushfire.
Yes,
also.
it's a kind of bushfire.
So in which almost 1 billion animals were died.
Just imagine.
I'm not talking including insects.
Obviously, the mammals and other vertebrates which are there.
Yes, sir.
So, so it's a big loss of biodiversity in Australia, and even in our own country in Uttarakhand, we frequently hear about these forest fires. And forest fire again is created due to dryness only, because extreme dryness. If there is a high wind which is flowing in that region, there will be friction which will create a fire or a spark, or it could be lightning as well. That if the region is very dry, but ultimately the region should be very dry, and which is the condition is created due to heat waves or hot temperature across that region.
So
yes,
in that wildfire, almost 17 million hectares were burned.
Just imagine.
For comparing, Bihar is around 10 million hectares, so double the size of Bihar.
Double the size of Bihar in Australia. You're saying that region
forest
completely
was
got.
Yes, sir.
One more country we should talk about. It is about the Russia. The Russian heat wave in 2010, particularly through the data, 55,000 people died in Russia alone in
which
2010.
Year? Oh, 2010.
In 2010, yes.
This is a big kind of a disaster for them.
And we generally know that Russia is not a very hotter place. It is generally a colder place.
Yes.
And heat wave may rise to the arid, like because of the dry wind, and like it,
the reason why these people may have died is because their body is not able to tolerate that kind of high heat. Because even a little increase in temperature, maybe they would not be able to tolerate that. Their body is not made for that particular temperature, and that's why they may have died. So the temperature may not have reached as much as it is in Asia or is in India or in Saudi Arab or other region. But even a little increase in temperature, they may not be able to tolerate that.
Our central water management also told that 150 major reservoirs are only left with just 24% of water.
Okay.
So I think this is the crisis.
A major area of concern.
Yes, sir.
Major area, because the summer is still in between. There are multiple months of summer which are still going to be faced by multiple parts of India. If the reservoirs are at a 24%,
yes,
that means that in future, if the heat waves will continue, we may not have sufficient water, and that is something that we have seen in Delhi, in Bangalore as well. In these cities, because of overexploitation of groundwater, what is happening is the groundwater levels have come very down. and because of that they are not able to have water, and there is water rationing which is happening. If you are wasting water, there will be fines on you as well. So these are the impacts. So earlier I used to hear about stories about that in future there will be water wars, and I think we have started observing the initial episodes of this water wars which are going to be in future. So water has become a very important commodity, and we are not able to preserve it. We are not able to take care of it because of our greediness, because of our over exploitation and other actions as well. So I think we have discussed about this topic sufficiently, and in the next conversation we are going to bring out a new topic of discussion. So my only concern for the people who are watching this particular video is that they should also take care of themselves, especially in this high heat, and take all the precautions. We are going to mention the precautions in our video as well. Just go through the precautions and make sure that you take care of it. So thank you so much. Have a good day.